Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me today. So I'm going to speak specifically about retrofits to what we'd call MURBs, or multi-unit residential buildings. So I'm with FRESCo. We're a consulting firm. We specialize in energy efficiency and decarbonization, mostly retrofitting multifamily and commercial buildings. We do engineering work, a variety of technical energy efficiency analysis, and a bunch of policy and program work. So decarbonization, I think probably most people by now know what we're talking about here. It's really about dramatically reducing the emissions that are from our buildings. So there's a couple different ways you can do that. So one way is through what some people call deep energy retrofit. So we've got actually a couple projects in Metro right now where we're basically working on projects where we just fully retrofit everything in the building, the enclosure, all the systems, in order to really drive down the energy consumption quite deeply. However, usually we are talking about electrification, and what that really means is replacing fossil fuel systems with low-emission electric systems. And so that can largely be done through the use of heat pumps, so for example, through retrofitting heating, hot water, and ventilation systems with high-efficiency heat pumps. But we actually lump electric vehicle infrastructure in with that, and that's something that's really important. As you heard, buildings are the second highest emissions in the region. Transportation is the first, but we also need electrical vehicle infrastructure in our buildings in order to help make that transition happen. So here's just some examples of some real-world projects that we've done. Most of these are in Metro. I think one of them is in Victoria. So these are projects starting on the left that are ventilation upgrades that we've done. We've done them both fully electrically. We've also done them with gas auxiliary systems where needed, domestic hot water systems, EV charging, and then the one on the right is actually in-suite heat pumps in an apartment building for heating and cooling. And I think the cooling part is an important part of the discussion as well. I think Connor mentioned comfort and health and safety, and cooling really used to be viewed as a luxury not that long ago, but especially since the heat dome, I think people are increasingly realizing that this is not a luxury. This is really a critical health and safety issue, and I think as people are starting to better understand that, I think we're starting to get a lot more support. Now, I'd say that some of these projects were done with little or in some cases no support at all from any programs, from any government funding or financing or anything like that. So it's been a real uphill battle to actually make it happen. I'm proud that our team's been able to do so much of it, but it has been really challenging, but thankfully that is starting to change. So just for a bit of context, in British Columbia, until about 12 years ago, there really were no programs for multifamily retrofits. I got involved in running multifamily retrofits about 12 years ago. We've worked with a wide variety of organizations in different segments of the market. And really those programs started with sort of what we call basic energy efficiency. It was really about sort of modest reductions to energy and emissions that saved you money and made economic sense, and by the way, it's good for the environment. We're really moving now more and more towards much deeper levels of efficiency and decarbonization, as well as an increasing focus on the health and comfort and I guess I'd say safety aspects that come along with that. We've been really privileged to get to work with a lot of great organizations in the sector, and we've worked with Condominium Homeowners Association on some early EV retrofit initiatives back over a decade ago. We've worked with Landlord BC and BC Nonprofit Housing and Co-op Housing Federation to really try and serve this whole market. So we really sort of divide the sector up into three main categories: condominiums, rental apartments, and affordable housing. And really there's actually quite a bit going on in all of these sectors. I think Darla's going to tell you a bit more about what's happening in the condo sector. So I'm going to focus on what's happening in rental right now. So we have a program that is in market right now. It's based in the city of Vancouver, and it's the Rental Apartment Retrofit Accelerator, or RARA. And really what it's about is providing all of that support that building owners and managers need to really make this transition. So some of that's technical analysis, some of it's support and education, and really just helping owners through the process. Some of it's financial incentives, as well as access to financing. So we've just done a screening. We've just done assessments of about 30 buildings. We're trying to narrow that down to 10 buildings that we'll actually be able to retrofit. I should say we have some plans that I can't quite announce yet for some new programs and new funding, collaborating with a bunch of organizations, including Metro Vancouver and the Zero Emissions Innovation Center. And so there's some really exciting initiatives that are coming, and I really think we're now on this precipice of this being just sort of this nice idea that a few people are doing, and we're really just at this transition point where we're really ramping this up. And I think going from, a handful of folks like the people in this room being sort of a voice in the wilderness to really this becoming a mainstream opportunity to revitalize our economy, to revitalize our building sector and make buildings that are not only decarbonized, but are also healthier and more enjoyable places to live and work. Thanks very much.